All right, welcome back, boys, to the Boys Fantasy Football Podcast. Always trips me up there. Welcome back. We got a new episode, Week 4 recap. Week 5 is among us. We're going to talk a little bit about all the same segments that we've always done. Going to talk a little bit about previewing the next week. I'm going to try to mix in a little bit of those. We have a couple things going on this podcast. I did see Adam's video. Stay tuned to the end. It is good. It lives up to the hype. And so, yeah, let's get into it. Now, I'm fighting a little bit of a technical error again. Now, I know every week it takes like 3 hours to upload. Hopefully, it's shorter tonight. I did get a new phone. I don't think that has anything to do with it, but we'll see. It's right here. It's the new one, iPhone 15 Titanium. Switch to Verizon. Stand-up company there. They swapped me and my wife over to new phones. I paid cheaper than I paid at T-Mobile. I'm unlimited everything. I'm fucking very happy. So very seldom do I get good customer service these days. So shout out Verizon for that. Yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. Vibe check segment is where I talk about, just overall how the league's doing, how we are feeling, try to get a good vibe of the entire league itself. Not just me, because it's sad, miserable, and pitiful over here. Try to get more of a grasp on the entire thing. The way I see it, and I think I've mentioned this before, but the cream is rising to the top, boys. We have a divide a little bit. Donald's team's a wagon. Austin's team's a wagon. Both 4-0. Austin's team is kind of a wagon. Okay, it's not unbeatable. It's just, God damn it, man. You have to score over 120 points to beat Austin. And every now and then he'll go above it, but he will never, ever shoot under 110. Ever. And I don't know for sure if he's gotten less than that, but it never feels like it. He is just a 115, run the football kind of football team. And, fucking teams would kill for that. But overall, I think we are starting to see a divide. Teams like Adam's team reared its ugly head is a phrase I'm going to use to describe his team. When it's bad, it looks really bad. So we'll dive into his team later once we talk about the low score, because he did get low score. And with low score comes mentioning the top scorer this week was Zach, 165 points. Hell of a job there, bud. Hell of a job. Christian McCaffrey going off for an insane 40 points. Tyreek Hill only scored 10 points and you still scored 165. That's impressive. Josh Allen did his thing. He got Puka Nacua. I don't think that guy's going to not be starting him from here on out. Reminds me, I did not write down all my Zach starts of the week, so I will be fumbling through that segment. Phone issues, sorry. Overall vibe check, though, I think everything's moving in the right direction. A couple duds here and there across the league, but luckily this week we didn't really have any too crazy of injuries. And everyone's team is starting to feel a little bit like they're taking shape. So now it's to the point where people are like, okay, this is my roster. These are my guys. Who am I trading? Who are my rocks that are going to hold me down? So, hopefully we get a little ramping up of trades coming up. I'll mention that there was a lot of false Twitter reports this week. And those Twitter reports are what gets reported on the fantasy app and when you click on the player description. So it's not like, you shouldn't get your fantasy advice from Twitter. No, these are team reporters I spent an hour today searching different keywords in Twitter trying to find this tweet. Being that I'm in the media game now and I'm going to be talking every single week, I need to be better as a host, commissioner, everything, in keeping track of tweets that I find important. Because this one, it basically went on to say how many different false reports were made as far as team reporters reporting on their team saying, for example, Christian Watson, full go, full part of the offense. That was not the case. He did get that touchdown, but it was not a full go. Same with Aaron Jones. They really didn't play him much. I know he had a bad week, and every time he did get the ball, he got completely fucked up. So maybe that's why they were holding him out. Another one. These are not just the ones that affected me. There was a list of about 20. But Khalil Herbert and Roschon Johnson, not only did they say it was at least a 50-50 split between the running backs, which it has been in the past, but they said per team sources, we are moving to a expanded role with Roschon Johnson. Now, Khalil Herbert is still listed as the starter for that team. So it will be featured on the Zach starts of the week. But if you're looking at that, you're saying, all right, well, the team is saying they're going to move forward with Roschon Johnson, starting more, getting more carries. He's a little bit more elusive. He could do a little bit more than Khalil Herbert, who's been a very big disappointment this year. But he's still the starter. So you read that and you're thinking, all right, if it's a 50-50 coin flip, let's go with the guy that the reports are saying that's going to get the work. Again, these players have been super even up to this point. So Twitter reporting has been bad this year. Again, there's multiple different examples, and I will be better at finding those in the past. Be careful out there. We're all getting our info and sources from different places. Maybe we're not getting it from anywhere at all. Maybe the Misters of the world doesn't listen to a single podcast, except for this one, hopefully. I don't think he listens, but whatever. We'll worry about that another time. Maybe we should all trust the little person inside our hearts when we're setting our lineup and not trust Twitters. Maybe that's my problem, though. So I don't know. Maybe I just do it too much. Last thing, under the vibe check segment is I miss the fantasy football of old where you could have a shitty quarterback and win in this football league, win in this fantasy league. I miss the days when having an important kicker didn't matter. Having a good defense didn't fucking matter. It only mattered between the trenches and fucking wide receiver, tight end, and you had studs there, you were fine. If you have a top defense, Donald has won many games because of the defense. In fact, I will go as far to say that his team is dependent on his defense. When the Cowboys defense only scored 1 point against me, I almost fucking snuck his ass. I lost, but the rest of his team took care of business. And I'm terrible. I scored low score that week. So all three phases of the football game are what you need to win on the real thing. We're in fantasy sports. We are now to an era of fantasy football where you need to win in all three phases: kicking, defense, full team, quarterback. I used to not even have to ever draft a good quarterback. If you drafted a good quarterback, you were a bum. I'm specifically losing weeks this week because of a bad quarterback play. So that's just a little tidbit thought that I had I thought was worth mentioning. Congrats to Donald for having the Cowboys defense carrying him to 4-0. BP complaining corner. This is where, I sit here and I whine a little bit. I'm actually feeling in a pretty damn good mood. But I will say, when I was tuned in at 10 a.m. and it was drawn to my attention, which I knew I had 2 Broncos and two Bears in my roster. I knew I had them in my starting lineup, but when it was called out that they were all on the same field, and this game was like notoriously known as like, hey, this is the shittiest football game this week, guys. And I was like, oh no, I am trash. Like this is worse than I actually did think. Turned out to be a really interesting, fun game. Justin Fields went off, and DJ Moore went off. Had a good day for me. So I'm not going to complain too much, but when you have the 2 worst offenses in the league and 2 of those guys are in your starting lineup, we gotta fucking figure it out. So I'll add that to the bad starts. Best game of the week. Best game of the week, I think we all know what it is. I'm not even going to mention all the other ones because I don't think there was too many tight games. Score-wise, some of them were kind of close, but it wasn't really, nothing was a good game. Jared and Braden had a hell of a week fighting with each other. It actually started with Jared being up 60 points on Thursday. From one game, Jared's team is the entire Lions lineup. We know that. It's a good offense to pick from because they did good. I mean, he's got, it won't tell me. But yeah, 60 points. And then he had Calvin Ridley go Sunday morning at the London game. So he had 70 points before 10 a.m. kickoff. Braden did a good job and fought all the way back. I mean, he had a pretty good week. He was in a dogfight. And it came down to Monday night of a one-on-one fucking Kenneth Walker versus fucking Tyler Lockett. And Jared had the lead. No, Braden had the lead. And, it worked out. Things went in Jared's favor. Now, I was hardly rooting for Braden because Jared took it upon himself on Thursday night to be really feeling himself, which, hey, I'm being called a bad guy because I'm saying teams that are happy are feeling themselves, okay? Now, this may come from like 2 years ago, maybe last year, I don't know. I was like top dog for like the first 4 or 5 weeks. My team was a fucking wagon. It obviously unraveled. We all remember. But I wasn't allowed to be like super happy about it. And you're allowed to be happy. I'm going to even the playing field and be like, hey man, like, fuck you. That's not my thought, actually. But regardless, I really thought it was funny that you're throwing out the wagons, throwing out like, and when you hit him up and when he talks about it, he's so fucking cocky with it. And I might be airing out like personal messages, but like, dude, you hit him up for a trade and he's just like, no. And he's just like, talks like he's fucking like better than you. And he is better than me fantasy wise, but like, I'm not fucking stupid. Just my whole team got hurt, dude. So I'm a little butthurt, and just like Austin, where he is going to make a enemy out of the Chiefs for what they did on Sunday night with the whole Taylor Swift thing, which I respect, by the way. It's a good move by you. I'm going to make an enemy out of Jared. From this point forward, enter the Tebow meme right here. Pretend I'm Tim Tebow. You will never see another person hate on Jared more than me. I guarantee that. Fucking guarantee it. You screenshot that, Jared. So he did pull out the win though. So, I mean, at the end of the day, good for you. 3-1, win streak of 2. He only lost to Justin, and he's doing well. So Braden, I mean, you moved down to 1-3 with that, and you do have some people coming back. Alvin Kamara looked great. He actually didn't look great, but he had like 11 catches, I think. And it just like the lowest amount of receiving yards on 11 catches that a person could possibly get. 33 receiving yards on, oh man, I hate this website. He had 13 catches for 33 yards. Obviously 13 points with those catches. So I don't know. I mean, I fucking Kamara's a dog. So, and then you get JT back. I mean, you're gonna be all right, Braden. I think you're gonna take a lot of shit in this league always, but I think you're gonna be okay. Moving on, trade season. So we had only one trade this week. Hold on. One trade this week between Peeler and Zach. It's a trade, boys. What do we want? Like, is every trade going to be crazy big fireworks? We'll see. But is every trade important and going to be talked about on this podcast? Yes. Yes, it will. So if you want your name talked about here to the masses, to all 23 views that I get every week, make a trade and you're gonna get your shine here, boys. Drake London and Miles Sanders traded for Michael Thomas and Gabe Davis. Zach getting Michael Thomas and Gabe Davis. Now, I'll give my thoughts after I read both of these statements. But initial thoughts, right out of the gate, I immediately thought Zach got completely fucked. Drake London, I think stud. Miles Sanders, starting running back. So Zach's statement is, I made the trade because with my big three should at least keep me in every game. Miles Sanders and Drake London are either a 5 or a 15 a week kind of player. With Kupp coming back, who knows how Puka will be, so I wanted some consistency at wide receiver. And even how gross Michael Thomas is as a human, he has gotten no less than 9 targets a game. I'd like to fact check that. I should have. And has gotten over 10 points a week so far. Gabe Davis, I'm hoping to find some post-hype sleeper magic and have a nice stack with my QB at the flex. My running backs are rough after CMC, but even with Sanders, they were still rough. Ultimately, I need Brees to get back to being awesome, hopefully with a Jets QB change, and probably need to get lucky and another back. Ultimately, I won't lose any sleep not having Sanders and Drake London, because fuck them. Now, Kyle's statement. Now, I will preface, Zach's statement came in immediately after the trade. He's on it. He's fucking on top of it. He knows the content game. He knows I needed time with this. Kyle didn't reach out for immediate comment, but after I questioned it, he finally did respond with a statement. Again, it was after the week, so after the boys had played. Needed to make a change to get some new faces in the locker room. Michael Thomas is useless. We wanted upside with Drake London, but internally we did a bad job at analyzing the QB situation in Atlanta. It is just as bad as New Orleans. Gabe Davis was rough to see walk out, but we got a number 1 running back out of it. But once again, we failed to realize the Panthers are terrible and probably won't be running the ball that often. Hindsight reaction, we're both in the same fucking boat we were a week ago. I think fucking Peeler nailed it on the head there. Ultimately, I don't think this changes the landscape of either of their teams. If anything, I think the most thing we came out from it was thinking, all right, well, Gabe Davis is part of the best offense in that entire bunch. Of all 4 guys that are involved in this trade, Gabe Davis has the potential to be something great. It's obviously Stephon Diggs' team. Whole receiving yards, I think every single time they throw it to Gabe Davis, Steph Diggs is fucking pissed. So they don't want that happening again. But Gabe Davis is always going to be the deep threat, and Josh Allen has an arm. So I think after further review, I deem Zach the winner of this trade, but times will show out. I think the points were so close to even say one side win or the other. I think all 4 players sucked. Gabe Davis had the best day. So I will say Zach won that trade. All right. Now, hold on a second. I think I'm gonna break some news right now. Let me make a trade real quick. If you guys don't mind, I'm gonna do this live. All right, here we go. Oh, maybe I can FaceTime him.
Hey, let me call you back in like 15 minutes. I'm about to drive Cameron to practice real quick.
Okay.
My bad.
It's okay. It's all right. Are you gonna drive right now?
I'm about to get in the car right now. His practice. I'll probably call you honestly around like 5:30ish.
It's not gonna be long. Can I just get like 3 minutes of your time, sir?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. All right. I have a question for you, Tyler.
What's the question?
Is Deebo Samuel still a grown-ass man?
Of course. Always has been, always will be.
All right, let's make the trade, bud. I'm going to send it through right now.
All right, let's do it. I'm kind of nervous with Cooper Cup. I really hope he is healthy.
Okay, so what are your thoughts on that? How do you think Cooper Kupp's going to fit in your team?
Honestly, I think it gives me like the star power I need. It gives me a guy to put me over the top, because I kind of looked at my roster and realized I can average about like 105 to 120, 125 every week. That's not going to be enough to beat the better teams, especially once playoffs come. So if I want to be realistic and give my chance to actually win the league, I need to add another dog like Cooper Kupp to try and put my lineup over the top and give us some depth.
Yeah, I mean, you're getting the stack between him and A.J. Brown. That's pretty fucking cool.
That's what I was thinking too. And then I was like, and then once Mike Evans comes back because he's on bye, I'll be set pretty much a receiver. And then Aaron Jones and Joe Mixon just got fucking figured out one time.
All right, so I didn't mention this, but James Cook is a part of the league. What do you think about James Cook leaving your team?
You know, I hate to see him leave. He gets a lot of touches. He's got a lot of bursts. He's a really good player. The only thing that makes me nervous is, like, he's not the biggest guy. And it's like he's getting a lot of touches, but he's getting almost some of the less valuable touches. Like, they're not throwing to him a ton. And when they get inside, like, the fucking 20, they go to Laddie Murray for some reason, or Damian Harris. So he kind of has to score from like 20 yards out. So that's getting kind of frustrating. But it sucks because, you know.
All right. I haven't accepted it yet. I haven't accepted it yet, dude. Don't talk me out of it now.
Well, you're asking for an interview. I'm trying to get you there.
I'm just kidding. I'm gonna make the trade. We're gonna make the trade.
Awesome.
All right, man. All right, you'll see this on the pod tonight.
All right, cool, man. Thanks.
All right, have a good one. Bye.
Bye.
All right, boys, there we have it. Trade is going to go through. You will see it by the time this podcast drops. Cooper Kupp for James Cook and Deebo Samuel. Now I'm going to give you my thoughts on it. I think it is the scariest trade I've ever made in my life. I wore Cooper Kupp in memoriam because that's my guy. I hung my hat on Cooper Kupp enough times in my life. I fucking love him so much. At the end of the day, it ultimately comes down to the position I'm currently in. I'm 1-3. Cooper Kupp, who knows what we're coming back to? And we're coming back to playing the Eagles, which they've done good against. I mean, they haven't done that good against receivers this year. Their defense on the secondary is not amazing. So it's not like that has anything necessarily to do with it. Don't know why I brought it up. But I think Deebo Samuel is a dog this year. And he has been in the past. He had a bad fantasy year last year, but he's been a top 8 guy the first 3 weeks. He had a dud last week. He is fighting an injury. I've done my research all day today. It could be completely fucking wrong, but I think he's fine. And I'm also getting James Cook, a very good running back in this league. I'm getting 2 starters that immediately plug into my lineup. Cooper Kupp, we're going to see. Sad to see him go, but ultimately it comes down to me actually not thinking he's going to play this week. And I need somebody now. And Puka Nacua is doing so good. They could completely mix him in and be super, super slow with it in case that Rams do get into somewhat of a playoff spot. Cooper Kupp's way more reliable. He can win the matchups against pretty much anybody. So I think it's going to be a slow transition. They do not want to risk hurting him again, and I am terrified of that. To a team that is depending on him to be good, I can go and get two guys right now that both of their teams need them as a part of their offense to be good. So I think I'm happy with this trade. And we'll see. You know, I look at my lineup now with those guys hypothetically in it, and I'm way, way, way happier. We'll see. I'm going to be told, I've waited this long. Why trade him now? This is a move I have to make, and I am excited to do it. So that's it. Trade segment is over. The first ever live trade being made right here on the podcast. If anybody wants to do that in the future, I'm open to it. I think that would be a cool little niche we add. All right, back to the notes here. We have the segment Zach Starts of the Week. Zach Starts of the Week. I'm going to go from me talking about me to me talking about me real quick. Starting Joe Burrow over CJ Stroud might be the worst Zach start of this year, including the one that originated it all, Zach sitting Puka Nacua. I think all week long I had CJ Stroud. He was playing against a defense that gives up high numbers to the quarterback position. There was no reason not to start CJ Stroud other than me listening and thinking, well, his downfall has to come soon. And then me also thinking, Joe Burrow can't be this bad. This is the week he turns it around. They got butt fucked. They got absolutely butt fucked. Joe Burrow is the biggest scam artist in the history of football, maybe. He stinks so bad, and I am going to take this so far with a level of Joe Burrow hate. I already hated Joe Burrow because he was getting called better than Josh Allen. He was getting called better than fucking Patrick Mahomes. He was getting called better than everyone. He was next up. Joe Burrow got next is what I kept hearing. And I had to argue that was not the case. Going to one Super Bowl does not mean you're next up. Jared Goff was never next up, and he went to a fucking Super Bowl. I don't know. Fuck Joe Burrow. That's all I gotta say. And me starting him was the biggest dodo bird, dumb brain, galaxy brain move I've ever made. I knew it. I knew he was gonna fuck me, and he fucked me. He fucked me hard. And that's a bad start. My other exact start of the week is Khalil Herbert, sitting him over Roschon Johnson. This one was a 50-50 coin flip, okay? I literally coin flipped, went with my gut. Zin side up was Roschon Johnson because it was who my heart wanted. And when I got to see it land Zin side up, I was like, okay, this is what we're doing. We're going Roschon Johnson over Khalil Herbert. And I talked a little bit about earlier in this podcast where I said, the reporting said, led me astray, and thought so. But either way, it was up to the Zin can. And it was a bad start. And making those two starts would have 100% got me a good win over Mister. And it sucks. It sucks. Mister didn't make any bad starts. Like I said, I didn't write anything down, so I'm just going to quickly go through each team. I thought Donald, anytime you sit Nico Collins, 33 points on your bench. He started Adam Thielen over him, which wasn't a terrible start. Adam Thielen did 15 points. It didn't affect his top score chances, and it didn't affect his win. He got a win anyways. But it should be noted that Nico Collins shouldn't be on anybody's bench for the rest of the year. If you're not going to start him, trade him, dude. Trade him. Kyle, you didn't have any bad starts this week. you just didn't have any good starts this week. Your team fucking stinks. So Justin, you got bailed out because Anthony Richardson ended up balling out in the second half. Got even more running yards in overtime. He ended up with 29 points, but Justin Fields made you feel really fucking silly that first half. And but you got bailed out, and that's good. You got the win, regardless. So, but that is a Zach start technically, but not technically. Zach, no bad starts out of you this week. Good job, pal. And Tyler, no bad starts out of you. You made the right move sitting Deebo Samuel. He struggled last week. And that's it. Let me just check real quick if Braden had any bad starts. It's fucking app sometimes, this website. No, you did well, bud. Your whole team on the bench scored 0. So good job. That's it. Bad drops of the week. I don't have any. I think the bad drop segment might be dead, deeming that most of the bad drops are made in the beginning of the year. If you can drop somebody that has a good resume as far as like points scored the previous 4 weeks, like no one's doing that in this league. At least I hope not. I'm praying for it, but no one's dropping good players at this point. So it might be a completely dead segment. Low score of the week. Wrapping up, low score of the week is where we finish off. Was Augie. His team scored an abysmal 77 points after being like second top scorer last week. So don't ever get too high, boys, because you can end up right here at the bottom. His entire team laid a stinker. And man, when it doesn't score well, it looks even worse. Some other teams, if they score bad, you're like, man, they just had a bad week. But like, you look at that roster now and you're like, dude, what are you gonna do? He still thinks they're gonna be fine, as you'll see in the video. But overall, he didn't even make like bad starts. Isaiah Pacheco on his bench probably wouldn't have made a difference, but it could be in the bad segments, bad Zach starts of the week. That's it. We are going to now switch over to the Augie video. He kept it nice, short, sweet, to the point. So thank you, boys. Hope you enjoyed. Talk to you later.
What's up, boys? Well, I never thought I'd be making this video, but when you score 78 points, this is what you get. I have no idea how my team scored 150 last week and then 78 this week. They obviously didn't show up to play, but I'm not worried at all. My team is very good. But again, when you score 78 points, you got to make this video. So I'll get right to the punishment. So for the punishment, if you guys can see, it's a plate of whipped cream. This is backwards, but it says week 4 loser, 77.98 points. That is terrible. And here we go. Ooh, that was a lot worse than I thought. Oh my God. There's so much. Holy shit. Ooh. Damn.